mercy and blessings upon our nation. Lord, we thank you for the great blessings you bestowed upon this nation, our states and our counties. Bless now this meeting, Lord, that we'll do those things that you would have us to do, that the citizens of this county may be blessed. We thank you and we praise you for all things. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen. Now we'll pledge.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I would like to call our regular board meeting of the Gates County Commissioners to order for July 6, 2016. First item on the business is approval of the minutes from June 1st, 2016, our special meetings on June 16th, 2016, and June 21st, June 2016, and our special meeting with the Board of Education on June 16th, 2016 as well. Are there any corrections?
Madam Chairman, all the directions that I saw that we called in earlier, and I'll make a motion that we approve the minutes as corrected.
Okay.
I'll second it.
A motion's been made and seconded to approve the amendments of those meetings. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed. Okay, amendment adjustments. There are just some things that we're going to kind of move around. If you look at under number 8, new business, number 9, the recognition of Dan Lang and John Carter, we're going to move that up to under 4, and that will be C. Right, there we go, C. So Mr. Lang with us can, I don't think Mr. Carter's going to be with us, so that we can do that. We'll have set through everything. Also, under number 7, old business, the voluntary agricultural district committee appointments, we can delete that. But we do need to add at that slot the Grimes letter. Do I hear a motion to approve the agenda as adjusted?
So moved.
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded to approve the agenda as adjusted. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed. Okay. We'll move to delegations. First of all, we have for public comment. We have Earl Wayne.
There's so many people here, I'm like, stage fright. I want y'all to bear with me, because I've tried to have, keep this thing in the right perspective. But I was under the impression, maybe y'all may be talking about trying to make our water system billing and turning people's water off a little bit better than it's been being. And y'all know that I have been on this, and I actually represent a number of people. My phone was very busy yesterday, starting yesterday morning. There was a lot of people either working and can't come, or a lot of people just can't stand up here and talk. And I had never had too much problem with that out here. I want to say to the county manager and everybody, I am one that fully understands the responsibility for collecting the water bills. And I've been around longer than anybody. Maybe Grace, but Ray looks like y'all I do. They told me he was old. But I've learned a lot. I forgot a lot. But one thing is, I fully understand that in business or in the county, that we have to have a very somewhat strict rules and regulations for collecting water or anything else. Perfect example of this is Detroit. I saw somewhere that Detroit, about 1/3 of the water bills have never been paid in Detroit. The city is bankrupt, and they got completely out of control, and nobody don't know what to do with it, because people just quit paying the water bills. So I fully understand that. I don't have a problem with that. But what I do have a little problem with is that I wish each one of you the deacons and preachers and everybody else. Think about the golden rule. And we can all discuss this. If you do, and bring it up to the county manager, think of yourself. Think of what you would do as an honest citizen, a person who pays your bills normally, and all of a sudden someone shows up at your house on Friday afternoon and turns your water off. And you have no water until the next week because you accidentally, not on purpose, neglect, I would neglect, did not pay your water bill, and somebody just come and turned it off after several days or whatever the policy is now. So the first thing I want to say is that I hope we go back and look at this thing from the standpoint, think of yourself, think of the citizens, and think about just going and turning off water. Water is the most important thing that we have. And we live in a society where we count on the county water. And we have people that come by on Friday, and this is, I got testimonies to this, so I'm not making this up. They come by and turn the water off on Friday, knowing that they can't get it until next week. Quickly, I want to make this story as quick as I can, but I think it's got a point. It's got a point to all of you, including the county manager and everybody else, the supervisors. Several years ago, I got a mining permit. Several years ago, I went to get my mining permit. I went down to Washington to the regional office of Dana, and I had this so-called professional building that was supposed to be doing it. And I got down there, and the guy that I met with was the nicest man you ever seen. He looked at it and he says, "Earl, this is a mess." He says, "You're going to have to get this completely redone. And let me tell you what you need to do." And he was just as nice as he could be. Well, let's fast forward quickly. 2014, I had to get it renewed. Well, it wasn't that complicated. So I said, my son said, "Well, let's just ride down to Washington and take it. And that way we can make sure it's right and leave it there." So I go into the office and I walk in, and there's a receptionist there. Everything else is locked up. Men stand around with machine guns and all that. Make sure you didn't break the door down. And she looked at me, "What can I do?" And I said, "I'm here to bring my renewal in for my building, my mining permit." Well, she was confused. She didn't know what to do. Finally, she punched the button and got somebody up. This guy comes out, no smile on his face. "What can I do for you?" I said, "I'm here to get my mining permit renewed, and I would like for you to review it and give it to you and leave it." "I don't do that." I said, "Well, who does?" He said, "You got to send that to Raleigh." Well, I said, "This is a regional office." Well, anyway, fast forward. The lady there and the receptionist began to realize, and I have this way, Linda, sometimes when I can show that I'm kind of not happy. And she began to realize that I wasn't happy. So she apparently had punched the supervisor. Well, the supervisor happened to be the guy that did my mining permit several years before. Nice guy. Comes out, remembers my name, "Hello, Mr. Roundtree, how you doing?" So what's the problem? I said, "I brought this up here," and he tells me he can't help me. Well, the supervisor looks at him and says, "Joe," says, "Take Mr. Roundtree and his son on back down in the conference room and go over this thing and make sure it's okay." So, well, Joe wasn't happy about this because he wanted to be boss. So, but I had sort of gone over his head. You understand the point I'm getting to real quickly. But anyway, in the end, he did it. So when he finished it, he gives it back to me. But the supervisor had come back in the room for now and sat down. And I said, "Well, I brought this down here to give y'all." He said, "We can't take it. You got to send it to Raleigh." I said, "Now, let me get this straight. I'm going home, mail this to Raleigh. Now, what's going to happen to it?" "Well, they're going to send it back to me." Now, I said, "Now, there's something wrong here with this picture." Anyway, the supervisor came in and became why we have supervisors. The supervisor said, "Joe," says, "why can't you just take Mr. Crabtree's application? He's already here with it." "Well, that's not what I'm supposed to do." And he said, "Well, that's what you are going to do. And take it and So don't you know we have a courier service that goes back and forth every day? Yeah. He said, well, you take Mr. Roundtree's application and you approve it and you send it to Rob. Now, the point I'm making is it's right ways to do things and there's wrong ways to do things. So that's what, and the other part about this is, and move forward, nicest neighbor in the world, but people who have no problems with something like the water department don't worry about somebody that does. And you may say, well, why is Earl Roundtree up here taking up all this time? Because I just happen to be made different than most people. We don't all agree with that. But there are people that have problems, and they don't know what to do. And I've been fortunate enough to have enough, I don't like to use the word political pull, but I've helped a lot of people, and I feel good about it. But one of my neighbors, Norman Easton, the nicest man in the world, some of y'all may know Norman Easton. But we were having bath problems. We went to refuge. And I was having a meeting with officials from Raleigh. And I went to see Norman. I said, Norman, you coming to the meeting? Norman says, no, I'm not going to no bear meeting. He said, the bears ain't bothering me, and I ain't going to bother the bears. Okay, so much. Only a couple of years later, Norman was able to buy a farm bordering the refuge. All of a sudden, his corn and peanuts are being eaten up. Now it becomes a personal problem for Mr. Easton. So that's sort of the way, we don't have a vast majority of the people out here with the water, but we do have people out here, good citizens. I get phone calls from them, or see them, and they come to us, and they're having problems with our turning the water off prematurely, what I call prematurely. It's not prematurely to what y'all's policy is, but it does need to be addressed. If it's not addressed, I will do this until I die. Now, my recommendation is that we change our policy on turning people's water off as far as giving them an extended period of time, which is not going to cost the county any more money. I would think it would be a good idea if we extend this period of time and give people a chance, give them a second chance or a third chance not to turn their water off. I do recommend that we increase our disconnect or reconnect fees. It's still $25. $25 now, I guess we don't have a county attorney here. I've raised the closest thing to attorney we got. But, you know, it's probably a legal thing if we charge more than it actually costs the county. Then somebody could come along and say, well, y'all are fining us and blah, blah, blah. But $25 will not cover the cost. Will not cover the cost of putting a lock on the water meter and then going back and undoing it. And I think that we can very easily, legally justify, and I support 100% to look at our turn-off time and then increase the reconnection fee to $50. If I had to pay the $50, but just don't turn my water off. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Ranger. William Sowell. Good morning.
Good morning, how y'all?
Doing well.
I come to y'all seeking input on the solar ordinance that we have. I've been asked by the planning board, and been asked you what else you would like to have into the ordinance. You had an opportunity last week that you had to submit written stuff. We have received nothing. You brought up about having retention ponds on solar farms for 500 acres or more. We are investigating that. We'd like to know when we think it should be included in it or not. My personal feeling is on retention ponds is that whether it be proactive or reactive, I think we have a very good solar ordinance right now. Sun Energy has showed up exactly twice, and they have put up with the claims like the bond and the decommissioning that we have in place potential to have one of those. And in my mind, I think that's a good thing. We don't need to let the fox in the hen house. So if you have any input, we would like to hear from you.
Well, one of my concerns was that you would work with Sun Energy and those who have the projects in place and know what some of the problems are that you're going to encounter, counties are encountering. Now, I know it's a lot of things that we would like to have personally, but sometimes it may not be feasible. You know, this is a first-time project for us. We're on a learning curve. But when you look at what those who are already doing it, what they're doing, we can get a better idea of whether or not it's working. You know, the bond issue, it may sound like it's a good idea, but if the other counties are not using it, they have an alternative, maybe that's what we should look at as well. So my thoughts were that you all would try to work with Sun Energy, get in touch with other counties, and kind of make sure that what we come up with is a workable plan and not just a personal desire for what one person thinks.
What we're doing is not a personal desire of the committee itself. We have gotten in touch with surrounding counties. The only other county in the state of North Carolina that has a bond is Catawba County. And every time Sun Energy has showed up, they want to help us write our ordinance. They have said that they have helped in Edgecombe County and some other county, and what they're doing as far as helping write the ordinance. And like I said before, I don't think we need to let the fox in the hen house. This is Gates County. I'm not Edgecombe County. I'm not Hertford County. This is Gates County, and I think we should do what's best for Gates County. And I won't kill what other counties are doing. This is us.
Mr. Stein, when you are working on your policy, are you taking consideration the difference between like the residential things and the smaller ones?
We're coming to that. We're working on that. We're going to come up with a tiered system that y'all have requested. We have a meeting next Tuesday, and we hope by the 18th we will have something to submit to y'all to next meeting. So we can move on and get off of this.
What you just mentioned, was what I was going to mention too, the tier system. I think what you had written already is a very good policy, but we did discuss the paragraph in there about the tier system.
And I personally have been doing investigation on tier systems and things that we can possibly incorporate. And I think a lot of the tier system has to be based upon the amount of KW that's coming off the farm itself, which would limit, say, the farm may put out up to 5 or 10 KW. Our ordinance right now says that anything over 15 KW falls underneath this solar ordinance that we have right now. We may have to step it up some or step back.
Certainly, there should be quite different qualifications, different requirements based on size, certainly residential, should be kind of same.
Right, I agree. Personally, it is so.
Well, like Mrs. Beasley's, she's got it's like 25 acres.
I can't remember the acreage.
Okay, but it's relatively small. But when we talk about these neighborhood ones.
Mega farms is what we're basically covering right now, because we keep hearing so many potential farms that want to come to the county that are rural, large acreage. That's what we basically address right now. And we will, hopefully by 18th, we will have something that's going to cover everything for you. But we were just trying to get some input if you have anything.
Not so much, Billy, as pertaining to input as it was that we want to be very careful that we didn't want to regulate and over-regulate. So that's what we're studying, that's what we're looking at, and that's what we're keeping in mind for our citizens.
Well, thank you, and thank you for the work your committee is doing, and you know that we're looking forward to hearing your report. Okay, there's no one else on the sign-in sheet. We'll go to Mr. Curtis Wynn from the Roanoke Electric Corporation. Cooperative, excuse me. Good morning.
Good morning. Chair, and fellow commissioners, I appreciate this opportunity to come before you this morning and members of citizens of the county. I do represent Roanoke Electric Cooperative, and today I want to just give you an update on what I consider a major initiative that we have started with the cooperative that involves the county and involves the citizens of the county. And it's called Roanoke Connect. And as the agenda says, it is a fiber broadband infrastructure project. And the primary goal of this project is to increase the connectivity of all of our substations throughout Roanoke Electric, which we serve 5 counties. Gates is one of them, Halifax, Irving, Northampton, and Bertie. I did bring, I don't know if for anyone who hasn't seen fiber, I just wanted to bring this sample just to show you what it is. This is what I'll be referring to as we talk today. This has 144 strands of fiber. Fiber is simply glass that allows data to pass through very fast to do whatever you need to do on the internet, whatever business. We're going to construct, the whole network is going to be about 200 miles of this fiber. 100 of it will be constructed by Roanoke Electric, and the other 100 miles, which is on the northern part, which connects Gates County, is actually already in place, and it was built by an organization called MCNC several years ago. And we're tapping into that network to suit our needs. It's one key point I want to make about this network is that it will be an open access network. What that simply means is that Roanoke Electric is not going to use all of this infrastructure. So that means it's going to be extra infrastructure that can be available to other viable entities that may want to use it to help increase connectivity throughout the county. Most companies that put fiber out, they close it, they don't allow other people to use it. We're going to take a different approach by having it as an open access network. I have a map that you have in front of you, and I'll just hold it up for those in the crowd. The map that the commissioners have, basically, it just shows a diagram of the network. You probably can't see it, but the point I want to make is along the top part of this whole route, on 158 is the part that's already built, and we're going to be building the southern part. And we're probably at this point, just to give you an update, we are, I'm about to say about 45% complete with the entire project. It'll be hopefully completed by the end of the first quarter of 2017. We do have a set of contractors that are working on the project. It's going to have a pretty extended lifespan of at least 25 years, and this infrastructure is going to be around for a while. We call that the phase 1 of the project, and that's to get us connected so that the cooperative can benefit from this infrastructure. What I wanted to update you on today also is that there are discussions with potential partners who can help us take this 200 miles of infrastructure that's running through all the counties and expand it out into the communities, which I think is going to be very beneficial for the region. We're working with a number of partners, and we're seeking leveraging opportunities. Again, the intended use of the fiber is fourfold. Let me give you those. Number one is for Roanoke Electric's use, to increase our connectivity in-house. And the second is to work with service providers like internet service providers, telecommunications carriers, wireless providers to give them access to this infrastructure. Then there's another category we call enterprise customers that are typically like a hospital or some kind of major corporation. As we build our network, they will have access to this network pretty much immediately if they choose to do so. We can work with them on a case-by-case basis to help them get connected. And then schools and government, especially K-12 colleges, police and fire departments, public safety, radio networks and local governments will also be able to access this network. Getting to the part about moving it out into the community, on the back of that page of the map, you have several dots. What we've done is we've plotted all of those potential customers that are closely approximated to the fiber network, fiber backbone we're putting in place. And we would hope that as we move through, if there's a need or if there's a value proposition that makes sense, that those entities can gain access to the network. The part that's really, that we're spending a lot of time on is that last mile piece that I mentioned earlier. How do we get it out into the community? Because we consider this a need. It kind of takes me back to when the co-ops were formed in the 30s. Just like electricity was needed out in the community at that time and wasn't available. Now, access to the internet has become second nature. It's something everybody just about needs and wants. So we're looking at some last mile considerations on how we can do this. So in addition to us having the access to it as a co-op, what we want to do is look at how can we expand it out into the community, and the steps that we're taking to do that are considering whether Roanoke Electric wants to do it, which we really don't want to do it ourselves because that's not the business we're in. So for that reason, we have been actually actively seeking potential partners who would have the same mindset, the same philosophy that we have in terms of being willing to go out to the last mile. When I say last mile, I mean not leaving anyone out. Typically, it's a situation where if the return on investment is not there, that person that lives in the far reaches of the county will not get it. We want to take a different approach to that. So what we're doing specifically is we've got a request for information to a lot of potential partners who are internet service providers. And we're going to evaluate those proposals and the information that comes back to see who might be a good partner to work with to accomplish this last mile solution. Once we have identified the right partner, what we want to do is really test their background, see how good they really are by giving them the opportunity to do what we would consider a pilot project in the region. So that would be selected. We'd select the location where we would do the pilot project, and we'd see how it works. And if it works, we may have something we can work with. When I say it, let me be specific about how this might work. One thing we've evaluated is how can we get this access or the fiber to every home in the region. And when you put pencil and paper to that, and you start using the calculator, that business proposition doesn't work. So it's a little bit too expensive in our minds to try to do it that way. The other option is to come with a combination of using the fiber and a combination of fiber and some type of wireless solution that could help make it cost effective. So the types of companies we're talking with right now have the capability and the track record of doing just that. So we're evaluating those types of companies to come in and look at our region and see what we can do. Now, let's just say if we have all of the ducks aligned and we have enough interest in this, we feel like it's something we could definitely look at and move forward with. There are some steps that we have to take. We are in the process right now of surveying citizens. This is where everyone can participate. If you haven't already, I have some cards here that have a QR code that you can just put on your phone, and it'll take you to a website that will allow you to fill out a survey. And the survey is called Proud Fiber. The very first step we have to understand is, are we the only ones excited about this, or is this something that the community really wants us to engage with? And the way we are trying to find out is by way of this survey instrument. So we're asking citizens, you don't have to be a Roanoke Electric Cooperative member to do this. We're asking citizens to go in and fill out a survey that's going to ask some critical questions that we need answers to before we really get too deeply into this. So I'll leave these for, I think we have enough for everybody in the room. If you haven't done the survey, I'll ask that you go ahead and complete the survey and let us know what your thoughts are. So we'll take that input, and if that, and so far it's showing to be very positive, and just want to keep that momentum going. Once we get beyond the pilot and everything, the financials look like, we'll be in a position to actually move forward and try to make this work. Just wanted to just wrap it up by saying, we're probably uniquely in a position to do this as an electric cooperative. What do we have in place? We have the rights of way already pretty much out there, the poles, the wires. This would be an extension of this, and adding infrastructure to it would be very critical. One of the things that we are also looking at as we approach this is if we go with the fiber/wireless approach, there are a lot of other infrastructure pieces that we might need, specifically the water towers. There may be other towers that are within the counties that may be useful in making this network come together to get lines of sight to all of the homes. We would be asking the county to support us in that manner if we get to that point. I'm asking my good friend Reba Green Holly to come out of retirement to help us with potentially raising some funds that might support this to make it financially feasible as well. When Reba does that, she's going to need some support letters. Basically, when we go to funders, they want to know who else supports this. So getting letters from the Board of Commissioners would be quite helpful in terms of our quest to get additional funds to help support this. So those are two ways that I would solicit your consideration in terms of helping us move this forward. And we're not at that point yet. I just want to plant the seed today, get it on your minds, make you aware of where we are, and we can come back to you later. But the final point is that we know we can't do it without the support of everybody. The citizens have to tell us that the citizens want it. And if we get the right signals there, and if everything looks right, we'll need the support of all of the assets that are in this region and this region to make this project go. Madam Chair, that's my update. I'll be happy to answer any questions that you or any of the commission have.
Well, I think all of us will be excited. Those of us who have internet at home, it is not sufficient. It's very slow, and there are outages all the time. So I think citizens of the county will be excited to have a reliable. I was in the Lincolns this last weekend, and they had wonderful service. And you think of the western portion of the state is sparsely populated as we are, and they had wonderful connections. So we are excited. I'm excited. I think the board will be excited, and I don't think there'll be any problems getting us to write letters or do whatever we can to help you. And I think we volunteered the other day with the pilot project.
I heard. I've been getting a lot of volunteers for that.
Just want to keep that in.
Yeah, that is a lot deeply in my mind. I appreciate you volunteering to do that.
Could you elaborate a little bit on the pilot program?
Yes, well, what we would like to do is find a location that could give a prospective partner a good challenge. In other words, they're going to put on paper what they can do. That we're going to go and look at some of the other areas that they serve to see what kind of quality they have, customer service. The pilot would be to have a controlled location where we would say, okay, we want you to install actual internet service to some of the homes in this region so we can get their feedback and see how it really works. So that's just a small subset of an area so that we can just really test the waters of a potential partner before we go full speed ahead.
Sir, I think that Mr. Gentleman here, do you have something to say about this?
No, it wasn't, this is a different thing that I have.
Okay.
I have a question. CenturyLink, CenturyLink has already got optical cable down and high-speed internet. Are you going to be in competition with CenturyLink?
In certain places, the people who have CenturyLink will have another option. As you would if you got a cable company in the area and CenturyLink, that would be another option. So what our focus is really to go to the places where, say, CenturyLink or MediaCom or Time Warner have decided not to go. And that's mostly out in the rural areas where there's just no service. And, you know, I'm really concerned, one of the big concerns in 2 areas, there are a lot of opportunities from an educational standpoint for students. And our state has decided that we're going to probably do away with textbooks at some point. What does that do to students who don't have access to the internet? And that we have a lot of our members that have that identical situation. And competition is not always bad. So we would be in some areas where we would serve competing with other people. But the majority of the areas that we're going to serve, there's no choice at this point. So that's the driving force behind us.
Excuse me, would this project bring jobs to the area?
I think there is an economic development factor in this. As much as it is, we need roads, we need water, we need sewer. Most viable companies, they're going to locate, they're going to want to have internet access, high-speed internet access. While the company may have it where they decide to locate somewhere within close proximity to town, I always look at economic development as a decision that a person has to make. And that person has a spouse, that person has children that they're going to bring to this region. Whoever that plant manager may be that's going to come. I think overall, from that perspective, it can help influence potential job creators to come to this region. Because the big picture is it increases quality of life in the region, which is part of our mission.
Thank you.
Pardon me, Madam Chairman. Each question that I had, you answered as you continued on with your summary for us. I did have a question about, are you intending to run that fiber optic system by pole to pole and underground, or?
That's a very good question. We will be running, our part of it is going to be pole to pole overhead. And study research we've done has shown that that's as reliable, or in some cases more reliable than burying underground. It is a lot less expensive to do that.
Now, in trying to support the project, I want to make sure that we're accurate. It sounds like the main benefit, first of all, is to give high-speed, high-speed broadband. And second, is there going to be certain areas that's non-internet accessible, or is it not, you don't have good internet connection? Because it's kind of hard for me to conceive that we don't have internet everywhere in Gates County, Herb County, Berkeley County.
You live in the suburbs or somewhere.
You're only about 65-75% coverage for internet, and your own IT person at the school cannot have internet access at this home. And if you go to that website, there's a meter, if you're at home, when you go fill out the survey, that will show you your speed. So you might be paying for a certain amount of speed, but you may not be getting that. And CenturyLink is, in some places, can only give you up to a certain amount of speed.
Can we own this school system as far as the students are concerned on how many have internet access at home and how many don't?
I think that number probably is representative of most of the systems, most of the counties have same ratios. Mr. Jordan, let me also clarify something you asked. And when it comes to speed, if it was just fiber, this is as fast as it gets because it's at the speed of light. The speeds that we're shooting for are speeds that are at a minimum will allow a family to stream video. And that is really the threshold that most children measure stuff by. Because they can't do what they need to do. And it's like teasing them with internet service our intention is not to do that, but the areas that don't have it and who have, areas that have poor service will be areas that we hope we can impact.
All right, let's give us something to work with, and I would be, and support, we be able to interact with strong points as to why, we want to support this. And, how about cost? We didn't touch on that. I can't recall what my internet service cost is, but I can tell you it's way up there.
We haven't gotten to that point yet, but our goal would be to be competitive with other providers. I think some of the financial models that we're using, those are the kind of numbers we'll be putting in on our pricing. So we feel like it'll be competitive.
Okay.
Okay, well, thank you so much, and we hope to be much success on the project.
No,
Before
thank
we
you.
read, before I kind of,
Thank you for your time. I'll leave these,
Will on the back, so up here at the back of the list as well.
if you just did sign in, but we try to be customer pleasing.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman, Board of Commissioners. My name is Larry Davis, and I'm here representing the concerned citizens of Gates County. I'd like to thank you for the opportunity to come before you. We have a concern here in Gates County concerning lifting the ban on herring fishing. Herring fishing ban has been down for the last 6 to 7 years. A lot of fishermen say that we have more herring fish in Gates County now than we ever had. Even some of the ladies have told me, yes, ma'am, we see a lot of fish out there. So I'm asking your help in seeking, restoring the ban on herring fishing. I've been in contact with our representative, Howard Hunter Jr. III, he's in the District 5. We have a format here that all the counties are using. So one has been used, and he will present this format in Raleigh, North Carolina, so we can get the ban lifted. And this is what I'm here for. I'm just asking for you to give us some of your input and help us to get the ban lifted. A lot of our citizens, as we know, herring fishing here in Gates County was a booming thing, It was supreme, So, our fathers used to do fishing and come up with a bunch of fish. But for the last 7 years, we can't dip one. So now we're trying to get this ban lifted. So someone or some of our folks can get out there and do some more herring fishing. And if you go ahead and you salt and I can eat too many to run the blood pressure out. But we're seeking your assistance in getting this to Mr. Howard Hunter Jr. III, representative of District 5, to get this ban lifted.
So you have a letter that you would like us to, are you proposing that we write a letter in support of this, or is that what you asked?
Yes, I gave a letter yesterday.
I bet you would like to get it, but you left the room. And this would be for the spring time when their parents are running for a certain
Yes.
amount of time.
Yes, ma'am.
And are there going to be limits per person or?
Yeah. Well, we know that coming back with this first, we get the ban lifted. We're not expecting you can go ahead and dip 2,000 off. We can just get it started, maybe 5 to 20 herring per family or per person. It'll be a start. A lot of times we take things like this for granted. A lot of people think that it doesn't mean anything. But being a citizen, we have rights. One of our rights is to be down here today. And a lot of us has come down here to see what's going on with our Board of Commissioners, which I know you appreciate.
Yeah, we do. We'd love to see citizen participation. I love parents, but anyway,
Is that band, is that all along the Chilmartin River? Or is it Albemarle side as well? Or,
Yes, that band is, well, we're concerned about District 5 right now, which is Prince County, Kirkwood County, Griffin County, Pascagoula County.
Come on.
Yes, that's one. These are the ones that Mr. Howard Hunter Jr. represents.
and if you're successful in lifting the ban, we're probably sure somebody put a limit on it or whatever, but you're not concerned with the
No, we're really not concerned about it. We just want to get the ban lifted so we can dip our hands in the pot.
Do you have an idea of when the blank ban was implemented and why it was implemented?
Well, it was implemented because they said there were not too many herring, that the herring were dying out, and they didn't want us to take all the herring out the water until they start multiplying themselves, which now we see that they has.
How many years ago? I'm just kind of an idea of the time it was implemented, to where we are now, whether it was 10 years ago, 15, 5. You have an idea when it was?
Well, from my reading, my limit, I think I've seen 7 years, it's implemented about 7 years ago.
I think one of the problems was offshore fishing by some of the boats coming in and taking some of the fish that the herons use. The eagle eye, I forgot what it was. Any other, Mr. Ranger?
I'd just like to say that before the commissioners get into sending resolutions in and supporting something like this, that you certainly need to take a look at I'm a scientific person and I follow fishing and I don't see all of these herons in the river, because we all grew up and Linda's got the age that she can remember when we did have herons coming in by the thousands and millions, and they're not out there like that anymore. And I think that before you make any kind of recommendations or sign your name on anything, you need to have some scientists that come in here from marine fisheries and explain to you the whole situation is what it is. And I would highly recommend that y'all sit back and look at this from a scientific standpoint, because we do have PhDs that are studying this and can give you a lot of good information and data. They check it constantly. They check the number of herons, they check the number of yellow perch, white perch. That's all my comment. Just be careful what you do.
Well, we weren't going to do anything
Right,
today.
I just wanted to.
We were going to take it and look at the letters and, study it, and we bring it up again.
I understand what he's saying, but people that go out there and go fishing regularly, they're the ones that see it. I mean, you can take a PhD, do what you want to, but you can get there, and you can do more with that than you can a PhD when you're out there fishing. So the people that's out there fishing, they can tell you what is out there. The people with a PhD sitting behind the desk.
Okay, well, thank you for and we'll take, I believe Melissa has a letter, we'll take a look at that and we will study it and get the information and see what like that.
Yes, thank you for the
Thank you.
opportunity. Yes.
Okay, I believe that ends our delegations. We'll move on to our administrative report. Oh, special recognition, that is correct. It is my honor today, and Mr. Lang, you'll come forward. Mr. Lang is a citizen who serves his county and his community in a variety of ways. He's on the planning board, and today we're recognizing him for his dedicated service to the Board of Adjustments. And this plaque reads, "Presenting to Dan Lang, Board of Adjustment member, in recognition of your dedicated service to Gates County, 2012-2016. And on behalf of the board and the citizens of Gates County, Mr. Lang, thank you for your years of service. Do you mind telling your age?
Last Friday, I turned 85.
Going to Service County all into the days.
And I told the people there, now I had a good friend that was on board, but he began to lose the decay, put it that way. And I said, I want to step down while my mind is still there.
Well, you are an inspiration to us all. You need to stay active, and thank you for your service. Okay, I was trying to jump the gun, I didn't need to. We also have a plaque from Mr. John Carter. He is not here. We'll give it to Dispatch Peace to make sure that gets delivered. And he served from 2012 to 2016 as well. Okay, moving to administrative reports. Catherine.
Before I begin my report, I would like to make a point of clarification for all the citizens in the county. Before I began work, the water department was split into two departments. And if you refer to the water department, typically when you talk to me, my mind goes to the department headed by Timmy Hested. And those are the people who are going to fix the leaks and install meters. The customer service department, they're the ones who collect the money for the county, including your water bill and all the questions that have been concerned and addressed today belong to the customer service policy, which is under customer service. The county manager's report is from May 18th through to June the 19th. Historic Courthouse, John Zellweger with Clearscape has received some relatively positive responses to the availability of new but seasoned drinking sources. He is still working on understanding the availability of historic reclaimed brick and the cost differentials. It is taking a bit more time than expected finding those sources. And the report is included, and we can discuss this in greater detail later during the meeting. As far as the spray field is concerned, the applications have been submitted to DENR for permitting. The county is still awaiting EDA final approval on extending the time needed to complete the spray field. On May the 19th, the Albemarle Regional Solid Waste Management Authority met to approve the fiscal year 17 budget. Grant funding for white goods has ended, funding for scrap tires has been reduced, and recycling costs are increasing. The Pacoima-Shawan Gates Landfill Commission also met to review the fiscal year 17 budget. Costs are continuing to rise for everything related to landfill. This is the last year funding that's available to assist with costs associated with scrap tires at each location. Scrap tires will be accepted at the PCG landfill free of charge from 8 a.m. until 4 p.m. Monday through Friday. A tire drop-off container can be placed at a site in the county, and the county would be responsible for paying the $100 hauling fee. For citizens to put tires in the containers, they will be asked for their name and address. And this has been done. A container was placed at the Reduca site in June and will remain there at least to the end of July. June 1st, following the Board of Commissioners meeting, I briefly attended the Progressive Ag Day held at the Community Center. All fourth graders attended and participated in stations to learn not only about agricultural safety, but also sun, animal, electric, and weather safety. The event was hosted by Cooperative Extension with assistance from several county departments. On June 6th, sixth graders attended Environmental Field Day at Commercial's Mill Pond, and I attended. Gates County Soil and Water hosted the event with several departments. The focus of the day is to make students more aware of their environment and the impacts they may have. On June 6th, I, along with staff, participated in the School of Government's webinar regarding the new Fair Labor Standards Act rule on exempt employees. Several Gates County employees will be affected. The Personnel Board and employees will be informed as more information is gathered about how the rules will affect them. On June 17th, several members of the Gates County Housing Committee, Sandy Pittman and I met to discuss roles and responsibilities for the essential single-family rehabilitation loan pool. Paperwork has been returned to the North Carolina Housing Finance Agency. On another note, the annual conference with North Carolina Association of County Commissioners is in Winston-Salem this year in August, and tomorrow is the early bird registration. If anyone is interested in attending, please let Melissa or I know. have any questions?
Just have a couple of questions. On the spray field, the EDA, initially we got that grant from CDBG,
No, sir, this is the EDA, the $900,000 grant.
or just $900,000.
Yes, sir.
On the housing rate, have you had any response from North Carolina Finance Housing Agency since we sent the application back?
No, sir, their deadline for the entire state is June 30th.
So, but I think at some point, they can let us know the dates of training and that sort of thing.
Yes.
Okay, any other questions, comments? Okay, moving on to finance and tax.
Good morning, everybody.
Morning.
And I'm already due with two reports. The one for, of course, giving the monthly report. Of course, our fiscal year and had a chance to glance at both of those up first. Any questions initially on the monthly report?
I did have one question on the 2015-2016 report.
Okay.
I noticed you have solid waste fees on there. It may have been on there in previous times.
That is correct, that's just an old lingering line item, if you will.
Well, I think $449, and I know that, we collect our solid waste on the water bill. And so I'm wondering what type of fee,
Older bills that are still, existing out there that were built previously, that, let's say we had an 06 bill created, and solid waste at that time was incorporated within that, it's still lingered, it doesn't go away, so there will be an opportunity to still collect
It's
those.
people who have been delinquent with taxes.
yes, okay.
And it distributes accordingly. When that payment is made, let's say $18 of it may be solid waste, or you will. So that's how it records the distribution.
All right. That's all the question I have.
Yeah, the collection rates, it looks, for 2015 is 96.13 for the year, that's something good.
That is correct, yes, ma'am.
Higher than what we had in 2014.
That is correct, and certainly
want to
go
give,
with each year, certainly.
You want to give credit?
We appreciate that. We also were given the write-offs. Technically, after that 10-year bill cycle, you can see a comparative overlook of what we wrote off last year compared to what we wrote off this year. And we were chipping away at that. We're not quite $4,000, less this year, and that's our goal. We want to collect even those older vehicle bills as much as we can. There's more money for the county, and obviously, there's our goal. So I need a little rundown of that. So we're pleased, and making those attempts. Any other questions on that collective report?
Yeah, I guess we move to the refunds.
Yes, ma'am. We had 3 this month, of course.
I did have a question on the write-up that you had, the tax report write-up that you gave us under Keystone.
Yes, sir.
Under the Keystone paragraph, there were several concerns. I had 2 concerns there. One being issues with regard to receipt printing is still unresolved for those accounts that have charges assigned on the following accounts: DLS, advertising, donation. The receipt amount is adding the charge twice. What is Keystone's response to these problems?
Well, they have put a staff member on that to try to target and do some testing. In one time, we will agree, we think is much fixed, or is resolved, if you will. And that may be just one aftercharge. And it seems to be occurring mostly, obviously, with aftercharge. That is, advertising fee, or in the case of attorney fees, it's targeted that. When somebody comes in and we print a duplicate receipt, that does not occur. They have been back and forth as the process has been ongoing. I mean, this kind of started in March, actually. About the third week of March, it started occurring. And we noticed it initially with advertising. Anything with the aftercharge, is pulling that figure in. So we print a duplicate receipt that goes away. Rather tame has been their response, and I'll just say that in terms of your modest approach to trying to resolve it with unresolved issues with these things.
It's still working, they're still trying.
Yes, we've been back and forth, and test it, we'll pull up an account, do another test, if you will. Some they work in terms, and some others not, as Lori and I, and Beth and Shelley have noticed.
Captain, you have an update on Atlas and GIS?
Yeah, that's another, I'd say point as well with cumulative updates with the large data dumps from Keystone, working really hard with Joe at Atlas and Hayes, staff members there, to make this happen. Not to circumvent what Keystone has in place for us, but to get those updates. We hope in very short, hopefully 2.5 weeks, we have some sort of resolve to that. I know when you're looking at GIS, some of those updates are not appearing for reasons with the tax software with those large building products. But the Hayes and Joe both have been reached out with some methods that we feel we can achieve that. And hopefully in about 2.5 weeks we should see if there's mass of those. That's been another issue as well, as you and I openly discussed, Mr. Pelton.
But you see progress being made.
Progress, I would say slight, yes, okay.
Tax refund?
This man included in your packet, you had 3 refunds, the first of which is the amount of $129.14. Some documentation for that refund regarding, it was an overpayment as these first 2 refunds were overpayment the taxpayer paid, and then those funds were collected from debt settle for
Yeah, yes, we need to take it one at a time. And I have a motion to approve the tax refund on number 1 for $129.14.
So moved. Second.
Motion's been made second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
That's approved.
So, this man moved the second, of course, in the amount of $651.30, like the same overpayment with regard to the taxpayer payment, and then those funds being received once again from the debt sale clearing house.
And once again, I hear a motion.
So moved.
Motion's been made and properly second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed. And third.
On the third refund in the amount of $131.65. This was regarding a DMV military exemption, which we do have those in place. And once we learn their home state, in this case was Pennsylvania, had we known that prior to that individual going to DMV getting taxes, we could make an adjustment. We did not. It's after the fact. And he claims that residency is Pennsylvania. So with that LES, that Lee Bernie statement on file, he requested a refund for those taxes paid.
Is this a county ordinance or is it general statute or is it?
That was actually a public law bill back from '09 that happened in the Senate. I think it's the public law. I think it's 111-67, but I can email you that specific public law from the general statute, from the General Assembly that passed that.
Appreciate it.
Yeah, I sure will, yes, sir.
Kathy, I live in Ewell, I'm familiar with 22 someplace lane.
Yeah, I'm reading here specifically with someplace, that would be, kind of like an old rendition of an old 60s song or something maybe.
That address doesn't exist.
Yeah, that's right, yeah, there's someplace, yes.
You don't know where that is, Billy, in you?
No, not at all.
With the strategic pine tree and the, crepe myrtle, right, yeah, that's usually, we might not recognize it, yeah.
Table this one, and then we get some address.
Yeah, some documentation and some areas here.
We might need a little. Do you think it is a valid address?
Oh, wait, yes, ma'am, I don't discount, I was just, with that, yes, we got validation and we could, record on file and print out from the DMV.
Okay, I'll entertain a motion to approve this.
Okay,
Certainly, follow the general statute, however, just a question as to, I don't see anything as far as what I would call 1028, what their address is to the Department of Motor Vehicles.
could be this,
Yeah, other than the DTS printout, 22 someplace lane. I mean, I'll be certainly happy to follow up if the board is needing, obviously, some more information. On the DTS printout, reference there, 22 someplace lane. And the driver's license ID number also on that printout. But, I mean, I'll be happy to follow up with the board.
Just sit there on the opposite side.
Yeah, absolutely, okay.
Yes.
All right,
let us see that public law and also just validate
okay.
the location. Probably help Billy too.
I might have to respond to this afternoon.
No, it's actually, the statute, Commissioner Jordan, Public Law 111-97, pardon me for that, I said 67, November 11, 2009, but I'll forward that entire section of statute regarding the LES, in lieu of giving, some additional information regarding the.
Okay, so I entertain a motion for table.
Someplace lane is listed on our GIS. What I'm sitting here trying to pull up, it is, the property deed description says it is an off lot number 1 at Sandy Point. And it's just being very, very slow. And it's someplace 2 words on GIS, so.
Yeah, I believe the dirt lane access isn't on the main paper, but I'll certainly be happy to follow up with anything.
It's
I got about 10 roads where it lane splits.
But I'll be happy to follow up, Madam Chairman, whatever.
What is the pleasure of the board?
In view of that, I'd say go ahead and approve, make a motion to go ahead and approve.
Okay, motion been made to approve it. Mr. Moore, Commissioner Jordan, you have not made a motion, right?
No, I didn't.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Motion has been made, properly second, to refund, make a refund to number 3 for, in the amount of $131.65. All those, any discussion on this one?
Still would like to have a copy of that public law.
Oh, absolutely, yes, sir, I'll forward that. Yeah.
Okay, all those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed? So I do know the military has the right to claim residence in any state that they want, because a lot of them did in South Carolina, Florida.
You was growing all the time.
Okay, and Mrs. Lane, of course, in your report, you have the delinquent accounts that we're going to be turning over to Zacchaeus.
That's correct, yes, ma'am. 56 accounts that, some of those those have paid, obviously, since that documentation was provided to you. They're resolved in full. So we took delivery, I think it's maybe 3 accounts on that. But for the most part, those accounts are ready. We have had no response from the taxpayers. Deputy Tax Collector Lori Chase with due diligence and sent a round of mailings with no response. So our next course with our policy with Gates is to move towards that foreclosure process.
And of course, some of these are numerous,
Parcels, that is correct, yes, ma'am.
I mean, same people for numerous parcels.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And reevaluation is, has the photo work been completed, taking photos of all the.
That is ongoing. They're moving into the Hall Township, kind of as we speak. The images, they get the images when they're in the field, they're out there, but that's ongoing. They're looking around. Have a good chance to update those images for buildings, commercials, double wide, things that are there. What's there?
Okay. Any additional questions? Thank you, Mrs. Lane, and thank your department. Continue to collect our money for us.
Yeah, and I'm thanking the ladies, Betty, Shelley, and Lori, and I want to thank Warren, who's not here, but with the evaluation with those laptops in the field, Warren, I just want to shout out to him, troubleshooting and keeping us on track with those field laptops and terminals. So, thank you folks for that.
Okay. Any of the other departments? Okay, moving along, we have already mentioned about the correspondence. We received a letter from Mr. Raintree that we have included in our packet. Thank you. You have expressed your concerns to us, and we are we'll get doing research on our policies that that's in an ongoing thing. Okay, articles of interest, we do have the annual conference coming up, and do we need to, okay, I think it might be time to take a stretch break before we move on. We have this time. These chairs are not most comfortable tonight. We do appreciate the cooperative decision like this media. The chairs are not very comfortable. Oh yeah, 5 minutes. Do it 5 minutes. Okay, we'll come back into session. We can move forward. We have no public hearings today, so a matter of old business. The customer service policy review, Mrs. Hendricks will call on you.
I think the major portion of the review was regarding extension of ordinance. I gave you a wrap-up of 2016. I do have an update for the month of June that we have just gone through our late fees on the 16th. We have approximately 2,500 customers. On the 16th, we ran late fees for 2,200 customers. So basically, half of the customers were late. But by the time we did disconnects, we only disconnected 66.
You said half?
Half of them, yes, sir. We ran late fees on the 16th, 5 o'clock. For 2,200. And the 26th was on the weekend, so we gave them the 27th to pay. So the time we ran the cutoff list on the weekend of the 27th, we had 66 people that we would send. I did go back and check back in 2013, we had less customers and the cutoff was higher. We had 2,400 customers. This connection in October 2013 was 110. So I feel like the measures that we're taking at this point in social media. We're constantly updating that, reminding people about when the late fees are run, when the service fees are run, and when they need to make the payments, the official online payments. We have to make them by 11:59 for us to have them, and so constant reminder for people. And of course, we do not disconnect people on Fridays. We have that was a policy prior to my arrival. It's Monday through Thursday, and interviews when they're disconnecting. They disconnect up until lunch, and they use the afternoons for giving access. You just can't go out there and put somebody on the front line. And we do have our staff that stay late on disconnect days for a couple hours in case people call in and for information purposes only, but we do not accept payments out of it. And then I also ran clips of the off of the service that was North Carolina drinking water and wastewater issues. And there were just some of the responses that I posted there from, these are more from counties and cities than they were from the county. What they were running, the late fees, and how their service fees. As you can see, some of the counties, they charge a $25 late fee where we charge a 10%. Like the city of Saluda, and they charge a $100 reconnect fee. And beyond that, there was results of the North Carolina Water and Wastewater Financial Practices and Policy Survey. These are just some excerpts from it. You can upload this and read the whole survey because I think it was like 54 pages long. The first one, how many days is payment to after the bill due date? We fall right into the highest percentage. And the same thing, how many days after the payment due do customers have to pay without penalty? 40% was 0 days. And as you can see, in their page 22, is one that has a pie chart at the top. The late payment fee, there are some large late payments. They go from 10 cents up to $50 just for a late fee. That's not the reconnect fee, that's just the late fee for non-payment. On the next page, on their page 23, and on to page 24, there's someone out there that charges $500 to reconnect the water. They go from $5, this is a fixed rate, all the way to $5. We do not charge an additional fee if it's after hours, that will be in an emergency. But traditionally, we do not do any after 5 minutes. And there's some of the areas that have a staged reconnect fee, like $25 for the first time, $50 for the second time, and they do escalate.
Looks like you did a pretty good job of presenting statistics on, what other counties and towns are doing, and appreciate that. I did notice that on the second page, that out of the 8 that was presented, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of them that allows 20 days versus out of 15 days.
Well, we actually got 16.
Well, yeah, but they have 20 days. And we have one that has 25 days, and also many of them give a second notice. I think that the policy that we've got, I'm not saying that it's not the worst out there, but I still think that we can be more citizen friendly. I think it's a little bit unreasonable sometimes. And other counties may have some of the same issues. I know that some of these towns and statistics are much smaller than we are. One of them, I think, has, I looked it up, they have 999 population, one has 4,490, and we are right at 12,000. But what I would like to see the board do in modification of our policy to make it more citizen friendly is if we'll take a look at our current, and Ms. Hendricks, I'll give you a copy as well. Take a look at page 9. Yeah. Currently, our policy says that the bills are mailed out on the first day of the month, and they're due on the 16th. As I pointed out in earlier meetings, that is not a good turnaround for most people. If you take 2 to 3 days for mailing time, and one of our citizens get their bill, and, you know, some people may not write a check and they get paid on Friday or whatever, but a 4-day turnaround, if they let that bill in there 4 days and they mail it in, and it takes 2 to 3 days to get back, guess what? We're delinquent. And most people pay their bill at the end of the month. So I feel that instead of the bills due on the 16th, let's move it to the 20th. Let's implement the late fee on the 20th of the month as well. Now, I think and to be more customer friendly, citizen friendly, I think we ought to submit a second notice. Mail a second notice. I know we're over telephone calls, but sometimes people are not available, they may not have a phone number, and send a second bill. And the reconnect fee be implemented on the 27th instead of the 26th. But it gives you them a chance to get this second notice. If you're not in here, guess what? You're going to have a reconnect fee by 27th. Also, the cutoff would be the last day of the month. And I said it that way because February has 28 days, and so you can't say the 30th month for each, or the last day, the 31st or whatever. But the last day of the month would be the cutoff day. Now, that would give our citizens a little bit more time. I'd say a more reasonable time to respond. We're talking about $25, $40, $15 of that is our landfill fee. So, we've tacked on additional fees to it, and there needs to be some leniency there. That's my proposal on the building. Now, here comes the biggie. That's going to give us a little more time. Bill. Once someone is late, we have a provision on page 9 that says, when a customer is scheduled for disconnection due to non-payment, they will be removed from the disconnection list, provided their payment history for the previous 12 months is in good standing. And the original reads, paid by the due date with no late fees. In other words, person has had perfect payment record. Well, I went to the front of the policy, and normally when we have terminologies in a policy, you'll give a definition of what good standing is. Well, I feel that good standing from a water service perspective, because considering the urgency and the need for water by our citizens, there should be no outstanding late fees or previous cutoffs. There's a lot of times when a bill will get in, you've only got 10 days, you may have a late fee. But if you pay a late fee, that should not be a penalty for saying, we're not going to cut your water, because you haven't missed the payment in 12 months. But if you haven't had a late fee, that should not be a reason to call for a person's water if their bill is paid up for the continuous year. So I recommend that they also, in that paragraph, we change it to no outstanding late fees or previous cutoffs. And that way, if a person has been late, but they pay, they're up for the whole year, then we would send them a second bill, and we could pretty much be assured that in that next month, we're going to get the money that's due to the county. So, board, these are my proposals for changes, recommended changes to the water policy. I think it's going to be more citizen friendly, and I think that our citizens sort of appreciate having a few more days in order to pay the bill. And even if they happen to be late on the bill, that's not going to penalize them for a whole year in having a water bill. So I consider this to you, and I would ask that this is not an ordinance, so we don't have to hold a public hearing. If you want to have time to digest it and maybe bring it up for a vote at the next meeting, I'm fine with that, the discussion today.
Okay, thank you for your comments. Yes?
I'd just like to comment on Commissioner Jordan's stuff. I listened to it and tried to follow. I think I followed most of it. I want to thank Peter because he went through a lot of trouble and work doing this. I know at times the board is split on votes. But I think basically from the standpoint of me and having been in this can of worms for a long time, I would encourage the board to support this. I think that the people that I know that are concerned about things that can happen, I think this will make them happen. And I would encourage all the board to support Mr. Jordan saying, I don't see anything wrong. The only thing that was not mentioned, and that goes back at some point when you might want, I still think maybe if we get these constant delinquent fees, maybe we might put something in about increasing our connection fee. The county is actually somewhat losing money if we got a system like that. That's the only thing that I mentioned. But I've encouraged the board to support Mr. Jordan on this. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, listen, right now, let us have our discussion. I think it would be more appropriate. Let's hear from commissioners, and then we'll hear from citizens. This is not a public hearing per se. We are trying to, I think we need to do that first, because there's some questions that we need to respond, Mrs. Hendricks to respond to as well. Commissioner Freeman, Commissioner Phil.
Yes, I certainly reviewed this, so we like us being always, friendly to our citizens, because that's what we want them to be towards us. And I know that Diane has been doing that for customer service. We see that we've been hearing this since I've been a member of the board about billing and cutoffs and regularities of it all. Certainly like what Commissioner Jordan has put in front of us. I wonder though, should we have a work session to discuss this and get it on board so we cover those, and then we have an opportunity to review what all the folks have offered us prior to this as well.
Commissioner Bell.
I think it was raised, saying that a work session would be noted in order to do. And just even prior to that, I would certainly support doubling the weekday that fee, you know, to give people a little incentive to. And the only other question I have here that Dr. Support, Mr. Gordon has here too, just on the second notice mail, did you have any estimate as to the cost of that?
We're spending $1,800 a month for the first mail, so cut that in half. So it's going to be, yeah, $1,000 a month.
Also, I had a question.
But that would be only on the link.
Well, as you say, the delinquent,
Right, the point.
the 2,200, yeah, we sit bills at 4,100.
So, that is, and also, if you do that, you know, that is, talk about turnaround time, that doesn't give, even if you send out this notice, it doesn't give them, very short turnaround time to still get money in. You know, I'm not sure.
Well, they need to come to the office.
I know, but, okay, you mail it on the second, on the 21st, it takes a few days to get it to the person, and it's still going to be, 27th. I mean, it's not,
One of the second notices is to let them know that you're the link, your water will be cut off if you're not in here within the next 48 hours. And so,
they might not get the letter, I'm saying, Mr. Jordan, because I mailed something from Hobbsville to somebody, somewhere, and it's taking a week. For invitations. And so, I don't think the second notice is being, we do the robocalls, we have told them about, you do social media, we, you know, I think that's done, you know, and people, if you look, and I'm not, you know, certainly there's room for improvement, but October 2013, we've cut the number of delinquents in half almost. Cut off in half. So what we're doing, we have seen progress. And of those, of the people that we're cutting off, let's say in June, how many of those would you classify as chronic cutoffs? I mean, chronic is not bad.
99.9%.
It's the same people
Yes.
over and over and over. So,
You pick up one or two, just like total accident, maybe they were out of town, or everyone has a place, but 99.9% of the people.
let me ask you, looking at, is there anything you would like to respond to?
I do, because you're giving them an additional 4 days, bill due date from the 16th to the 20th. The issue is the logistics in the office. You're cut off on the last day of the month. The last day of the month is when we're getting bills ready. We're sending those to be printed. So when the bills go out, you've got the current month and the next month. You're going to have 2 months of bills. Same deal. All citizens will understand.
oh, there's no ways. I mean, if down the second bill, you went downstairs, and automatically you know that. If I get a bill, normally for $40, and I did it for $80, that I paid last week, and you know, automatically pay it off.
But I'm saying like that cutoff is, you're cutting it off on the last day. So to give people the opportunity to pay is that evening, the first of the next month. And see, the first of the next month is when our bills are out. So you're overlapping that. You're overlapping the new bill for next month and the existing.
I'm a little bit,
Follow that.
no. You gotta like.
That should be our workshop. That's what I'm going to do.
I think that, you know, this is a good place to start.
It is a good place to start.
And your research is a good place, and we need to take all this, and we need to deal with facts, and look at logistics, we need to look at everything. And I think work session is probably the best answer, so that we can go through this. Do you guys agree, do I have a motion from the board to schedule a work session?
They have to make that motion, that we have a work session and certainly, as far as discussion wise, about that, I'd like the commission to go and talk to us. That's good for our.
And we do appreciate the efforts of all individuals. Do I have a second?
Second.
We have a meeting on July 18th at 7 o'clock. If you would like to meet at 6 p.m.
We have don't we have economic development?
Well, that's on the schedule, but I don't know if we can discuss it this time.
And do you want to do that?
We could do it an hour before our next meeting.
Okay, that's what.
Okay, I was talking out of this.
There was little pieces in here, I'm great. So, a motion has been made to have a work session on this for, on July the 18th at 7 p.m. prior to our regular meeting.
Right, that's it.
And motion has been made, properly second. Are there any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed. And to the, I did not mean to cut off anyone, but sometimes we need to, all our information is together. But certainly if anyone would like to say anything at this time, we will listen to it. About the water. Just a brief copy.
I just have a comment, agreeing with Commissioner Jordan. One thing, I don't know how many here has ever had the water cut off in the lake. And what the decisions that are made in here reflects on the ones that collects the water. Now, someone had that water cut off, they go pay that water bill. They're coming with the attitude and make bad on them. See? So they have to try to understand what happened, because someone come in, look like they want to jump on them because their water bill is late. So whatever is decided here reflects on them. And you're the person that's paying their water bill and attitude. So whatever you do, keep that in consideration, because this is Gates County. This is Golden Gates County. We have interfaith, Golden Gates Interfaith Disaster Response Team.
And we all love Gates County.
Yes.
We love citizens of Gates County.
We can keep it Golden Gates, Golden Love, Golden Peace, and Golden Happiness.
Yeah, and, I think, and I'm trying to be neutral on this, and listen to both sides. But we do make attempts to be customer pleasing. We don't cut off on Fridays. At Christmas time, we don't cut off. They do have compassion. So I think, they have a tough job because, yes, people are upset. And if you're in their office or around their office, you don't want to be in their office, but around their office, you can probably hear some of the conversations. And it's not, people not very pleasant.
These are some of the letters that I get. I'm not going to tell you who they're from. But I got a letter from citizens saying that in January 2015, my water was cut off. When the guy came and cut it off, I called the water department, checked to see if we had a bill. And we did not receive a bill, therefore it wasn't paid. I told them that I would bring a check right there and ask them to please leave the water on. I was told they were going to cut it off anyway, and if I paid the bill early enough the afternoon, it would cut back on, or in the morning. Went to pay the water bill, and they would not accept my check that was made out to cover the bill and fees incurred. They said they would only take cash. And I paid with cash and asked them to apply the check to my account. These are a person that's able to pay a bill. I'm not talking about chronic users. We may have some people that they just don't have the money, and they can't pay the bill. But if a person can pay their bill, if they for some reason it got lost, got it. I know that my bill was late one month because my wife wrote the check for $40 and my bill was $43. She wrote $43 on the numbers and made the check out for $40. And guess what? My bill was delinquent, had a delinquent charge.
You had a service fee for the remaining $3.
Exactly. I had a $3 service fee, but guess what? If I missed a bill within the next 12 months, my water would be cut off with no notification because I wouldn't be in good standing. These are the kind of things that I know we may have some chronic use, but every now and then you're going to get some people who truly there's a mistake. So we don't want to throw the baby out with the baby water, if you will. There should be a built-in system. We know how much money we're not going to collect over a year. We just heard our tax department, we collect 92-96% of our taxes due. But we set up our budget where we know that we're going to bring enough money to cover what we have. So, we're losing 4% of uncollected water bill. Believe you me, that's not going to affect how we operate our water department, because we should have it built in, whereas we know that we don't have 100%, that we have enough to cover the expenses for that year. So, I don't know about those commissioners, but I have people that constantly are in touch with me, and this needs to be changed.
Okay, and we're going to work on it at work session and see what we can come up with.
Linda, I know you don't want me to interrupt, I promise that I'm finished. But this is nothing really, it does with this, but Henry brought up before. We get our water bill, and we got waste management fee on that. If my water bill was $34 plus my waste management, I send you a check for $34. How are we going to determine whether I'm paying my water bill or paying my
It
waste
goes
management?
directly to your water bill. All the money received is first, goes over to the water.
Okay, so in that case, you always, the water bill is first, and that's all that, you answer my question, thank you.
Okay. I did know that. Okay, well, thank you, and thank everyone, thank Mrs. Henry, thank Commissioner Jordan for their efforts, and we will take it up at the work session. Okay, the next item is the Grimes letter. If you remember, this was May 1st, she came before us wanting a rezoning that we denied on Highway 13. She wanted to begin to sell firearms there, and the ATF required that it be zoned commercial. It is in an agricultural area, and it had a store there that had been grandfathered in when we came up with zoning, and it was it did not sell guns, it sold, drinks, bread, milk, and that sort of thing. She bought property, it was a store, and she could continue as a store selling those things, but it could not sell firearms under that zoning. And she came for us, we voted not to rezone. We did, at that time, we discussed sending a letter to ATF explaining that we were not going to rezone it, that she had been, that had been grandfathered in, and that grandfather, a non-conforming plot, would continue to exist. It would still be non-conforming, and she could still operate a store there, a retail store. Then questions have come up concerning, should we send that letter?
Well, I don't think the letter doesn't authorize her itself. The letter only states that it was zoned agricultural, but it's non-conforming, but it is grandfathered in for commercial use. And it's going to be up to the ATF whether or not that's sufficient.
So is it the pleasure of the board that the chair signs that letter?
It states those facts.
Would you mind reading that letter out to us again, Madam Chair?
I don't have my copy.
The property currently owns and is addressed as 777 US Highway 13 South. Currently owned by Cheryl Grimes, is owned A1 Agricultural. Ms. Grimes currently operates the store at this location. The business is a non-conforming use by Gates County. The store was essentially grandfathered when zoning occurred in the early 2000s. As long as the store remains in operation, Gates County will not revoke the non-conforming use.
Thank you.
I think the letter states the facts. It doesn't give authorization. And it allows us to follow through on the fact that we did not deny the rezoning because of what you want to put there. We denied the rezoning because we didn't feel that the property was suitable for rezoning, being the size and also the fact that some felt it was possible. So I would make a motion that we authorize the chairman to sign the letter to be submitted to API.
Okay, Ms. Baptiste.
If you look at that,
Hold up, wait, there's a motion on the floor. Do I have a second?
Second motion, yes, ma'am.
Okay, open for discussion.
if you look at the application from ATL, the ATL.
Wait, so you didn't see the application?
Yes, you need to see the application. The application from ATL asks specifically whether this is a use that's permitted in this zoning district. It is not. And that is the reason why she came for the rezone. So it's pretty much doesn't make a difference whether it's she has a non-conforming use now. It's what she's going to, whether it is allowed in that zoning district.
Well, that would be a separate request.
Well, no, it's according to our charter permitted uses, whether that use is allowed in that zoning district. That's what the application in the letter is supposed to verify, that this is a permitted use under our charter permitted uses for that zoning district.
What is gun sales?
We classified it as miscellaneous retail, and miscellaneous retail is only allowed under the commercial zoning district. It's not allowed in the agricultural zoning district.
Well, so what I'm hearing is that the request is for us to authorize the sale of guns under the current zone.
No, the question they're asking you is it allowed under that current zoning which she is in? And the answer to that question is no, it's not allowed in any one zoning district. That's why I could not issue the letter beforehand and why she came for the rezoning. Because the question on the application is clearly states, is this a use that's allowed in your zoning district that she is in?
Well, I looked at the application, I think I sent a copy to county manager, and it had a place there for other. And it had zoning, commercial, A1 or whatever designation, then it had other. What is it, the zoning property? Well, it is other, it's not commercial. That's all that we're saying. If the ADI application says that is gun sales allowed in this zone area, that's your call. But from the commissioner standpoint, we're basically saying it's an other use. There's a commercial use there, and if it's not allowed from a zoning standpoint, I mean, that's something that she needs to be aware of that. And if the letter is not going to do any good for her, then.
But they're not going to go through our zone. They're not going to go through our zoning ordinance and say, okay, it's not allowed in that zoning district. Whether we send them, whether they want us to affirm through the letter, this is a use that's allowed either by special use permit which she has been granted by the county, or whether it's allowed by right under our charter permitted uses. That's what the letter needs to affirm to them before they're going to issue her an ATF license to operate. So it has to be a use that's allowed by right or by special use permit under our ordinance. And the letter that we send to them needs to say it is allowed by right or by special use permit. Now, as I, when I was out, I did send an email out to county manager and stated that if she had sold guns before and it had been less than the time that the non-conforming use status expired on her selling guns, then she could go back and sell guns at that site, again, without having to do anything. And then we would list it was a non-conforming use that went dormant for X amount of time, but she is reinstating that use. That's when it would fall under that other status of being a non-conforming use that's allowed at that site, even though it's not allowed under our zoning ordinance. It needed to be something that she was doing and went dormant, because for our ordinance, if it goes dormant for more than 2 years, then it's a non-conforming use and it can be reinstated. But if it's less than 2 years, it can be reinstated. So it would need to be underneath that 2-year umbrella.
What I'm hearing is you're saying that our letter doesn't mean what it means. This letter doesn't mean anything because it's not telling Ms. Grimes or ABF what they need to do. It's basically what you're saying.
Therefore, our letter says nothing.
It says nothing, but it basically just says that, hey, this is what it is, and she can continue to do what she's been doing, which is commercial, but she hasn't sold firearms there before, so therefore, that falls under that.
It was stated that this was a letter of fact. As Ms. Baptiste said, the question was it allowed under the zoning? That fact, if this letter is sent, that fact needs to be inserted in there that this is not allowed under the existing condition, existing zoning condition. I never answered the ATF question.
I'd like to see that. I haven't looked at that miscellaneous. I don't have my zoning ordinance here.
And also, of course, there is concern about the size of the piece of property, the road, the redoing on Highway 13 is taking a portion of the property as well. So the size of it has been greatly reduced. And what she has sufficient parking, there's a lot of issues to come up.
I would recommend for any building permit to issue that a survey requires showing what the property actually is.
I mean, she wouldn't need, the only thing she would need would be the ATF approval. She's not gonna, it's already an existing building site, so I don't think that she really is gonna have any building permits.
Okay, she would renovate that.
Yeah, I mean, if everything is internal, as long as she's not doing anything with the wiring, because I think what she's gonna be inserting is, just cases.
But she has security with the guns.
According to our ordinance, we don't address whether she's gonna, but I mean, that would be an ATF thing. Yeah, I'm not
She
sure.
have something security.
Yeah.
If you got firearms for sale.
Madam Chairman.
Yes.
And board, this is a matter of interpretation, and I see why you're interpreting. But this, so miscellaneous is permitted under C1. But guess what? This is a non-conforming use, which is being used for commercial. So in reality, it's being used as a commercial not rezone this commercial. It's grandfathered in. When you went from agricultural, when we put in the zoning order, we did not identify it as C1, or guess what? We said this is a non-conforming permitted use. So it's being used as commercials, and it's allowed.
But not all, everything, there are different classes of commercial.
But, I
You
mean,
don't specify, and you can say miscellaneous retail is permitted under C1. You've got a C1 operation in an A1. So it's a matter of, if you interpret it that way, that's your interpretation. You can certainly see it another way. It's a matter of, it's a semantic, if you will. You draw the line here, someone else will look at that and say, you know, hey, it's being used as C1, you've authorized it non-conforming, and guess what?
but the purpose of the zoning district is to identify what is allowed in this certain area. Even though it is a commercial use being located in an agricultural zoning district, it does not necessarily meet, because we have several commercial operations that are allowed in an A1 zoning district that don't make that property or that zoning, overall zoning, as commercial. You're trying to interpret that just because she's using it as a commercial, that the overlying factor that is agricultural makes it convert to commercial. And that's not the way zoning.
That's what we did. In other words, we did it a lot of problems. When we put the zoning ordinance in, it was either residential or agricultural. We didn't even identify some of the school areas as being institutions.
Correct, but the use cannot define the zoning district. It's A1, whatever is allowed in an A1 is allowed.
But she can't.
But if she goes to any other kind of commercial use, if she wanted to put gas pumps out there, say she has a property, the hurricane, if she wanted to put gas pumps out there, that would be a complete change of use, because now she's going, or if she wanted to put a restaurant, that's a complete change of use.
Well, Madam Chairman, I would not make a motion to authorize the sale of guns in that zone. That's up to ATF. My motion would stand as identifying property as what it is, and it's been raised. If that's not sufficient, then the board needs to decide where we need to go.
Okay, there is a motion on the floor at this time that has been properly seconded. I believe Commissioner Jordan made the motion to send the letter, and Commissioner Freeman seconded. Okay, any other discussion? Hearing none, we'll call for the vote. Okay, all those in favor of sending a letter to the ATF with saying what it says, or do we need it? Okay, saying what it says. All those in favor say aye. All those opposed?
No.
No.
No. Okay, so we're not sending a letter.
Ms. Grimes will be calling to find out if there will be a letter sent.
Okay. And just, well, you can send, tell them a phone number. Okay, historic courthouse. We have an update from Clearscape. And
It's basically just a general informational packet. They have been looking for bricks, and as you can tell, there is a huge range in prices between what they call reclaimed brick and the new yard aged brick. And it also depends on where the brick is located on the shipping cost. They are still working on this. They want me to share it with you so that you would have a better understanding of the prices. And if you will note, there are several places that did not respond to them, but they are going to continue reaching out to them. And there was a follow-up email from Tim Crow with WJE. I believe they gave an additional location for Clearscape to contact.
Well, I thought it looked promising, some of the two places in North Carolina, they had hard yard aged bricks.
The one Adams and Morrisville.
Certainly has a potential.
And those were the cheapest bricks, 26 and 47.
Also, the transportation cost is much less.
My understanding is that Clearscape is asking the board to, first of all, authorize them to use yard brick. Second, to let WJE do their testing. And third, WJE identify the location where the brick is going to be used.
No, sir. Page 2 of the letter just says, for the purposes we assume the conservative and the cost information for guidance only. Because they've not even identified the supplier and the quantity that's needed yet. They're still researching. This is just basically saying, this is what we have found today because we told you we would send you the information. And you had already approved the initial testing of the mortar and the stucco on the building back at, I believe, the May 1st meeting.
All right, we're going to look at the last paragraph. It says, finally, due to the dimensional differences between the salvage and yard-aged brick, there will be some different approaches to their installation. However, because the building is faced in stucco, those differences in installation will not result in a difference in the final appearance. Therefore, it is our recommendation to utilize, if still available, when the contractor is authorized to receive a yard-aged brick. That's their first recommendation. Once the county can provide a direction for the design team, we can establish an approach to repair. First, however, we recommend the county continue to have a relationship with WJE Associates and proceed with the material testing of the courthouse brick, mortar, and stucco. You said we've already done that.
Yes, we've already approved that.
Then it says WJE Associates should identify the location from which they wish to test the samples and make a recommendation as to whether the county staff can procure these samples for shipping to WJE offices or lab. So that sounds to me like they're asking for the direction. Now, on the second page, where it said, for the purposes of the research, we assume the conservative quantity to be sure that suppliers will be able to meet our need. That to me is not saying, hey, this is just information, you all need to do it.
But we've already approved the first part. And the county staff has already determined that they are not going to be able to procure any samples, that we will need to contract with Andrews, since they've been the ones who've been over there doing the work. And that they are the experts in brick removal and restoration. They know the proper way to remove the brick once WJE has identified the location for us, which they have not done.
Right, and then you do that. But what about the use of the yard brick? Now, you got, it's
He's
telling
just
me,
given us this one location, so I'm assuming then you can make a decision on which of these two bricks that you need
right, he's
to
saying,
make a decision on.
he's saying the yard brick should be cheaper. The yard brick may be a little bit of dimensional difference, but since you're gonna put stuff on it, it doesn't matter. So you gotta make this, are we gonna use yard brick? And that's the question. We need to let them know that we are And then at some point, we're gonna need to authorize the purchase and the shipping of that brick. So the main thing is, if you use reclaimed brick, you could get into some real big cost issues. They're saying that yard brick, those seasoned yard bricks are available, and that the county could go ahead and use those. Because if we don't do anything, they're gonna be getting back to us, what we brought aside. That's what it appears to me.
Well, we have recommended, to do the testing, and they are going to let us, Andrews come in and take it. And I think from the results of that testing, we can also be better reassured that the yard brick is suitable for us to use, which we hope we can use, because it's so much cheaper.
The yard brick is going to be covered with stuff anyway, so there's some potential dimensional differences in yard brick and reclaimed brick.
Well, one of the reasons we're testing because of the freeze-thaw, the freeze-thaw process, because when you put old brick and new brick, if it's not on the same level, it's going to cause cracks, and that's what we want to avoid. We've had enough cracks, and so if the yard brick is sufficient, complementary to that they can use that.
So you gotta get the WAE first.
Well, they got to finish that, or get the samples.
Yes, they do have to get the samples.
They have to get the samples. But we can certainly tell Clearscapes that certainly the yard brick is, we hope we can certainly a lot more cost effective. So I think we have to wait till that testing is done. And listen, I would be great if we could go right on, but I think that's the step that we're at right now. That's that right on the last page. Where it says continue the relationship with WJE and do the visual testing. Andrews is going to come in, and we might give James Andrews a call and ask him to come on and guide him. And then we'll be ready to go, and then they'll continue to look at sources of risk, but we have an idea.
I think you need to be aware that we're not favorable of using the yard brick.
I don't think we have our motion for that. Just to let them know that we called Clearscapes, talked to John, and say that the yard brick is, we can use that. Would that be? Okay. Thank you. And we will certainly make sure that we contact Clearscapes. Okay. Any old business? Okay, going to new business, and we have Barbara Yates from Aware funding request. You have been very patient with that, and we have your letter here that was.
Yeah, one person.
Okay, and for those of you who do not know Barbara Yates, she is with the Tri-County Animal Shelter.
Good morning or good afternoon. My name is Barbara Yates, and I'm a volunteer with Tri-County Animal Shelter and president of the. Thank you for inviting me to appear before you today to explain some of the reasons why the shelter needs additions and present the plans we have developed for Phase 1. As you know, the shelter is owned by 3 counties, Chewan, Gates, and Clemens. Although Aware's primary mission is to provide discounted spay and neuter programs to pet owners in our 3 counties, we also manage 2 funds that directly benefit the shelter: the Rescue Assistance Fund and the Shelter Enrichment Fund. Currently, Aware is holding donations in our enrichment fund to help build the additions. Joining me today is Mary Jo Sellers. Mary Jo is the volunteer rescue and transport coordinator for the shelter. In 2015, 336 dogs and 194 cats that would have been euthanized at the county's expense were saved and sent to rescue crews. Donations to AWARE's Rescue Assistance Fund and transport volunteers made this possible. So last week I sent you an outline of phase 1 of the project building additions, and I'll begin to recap that outline by stating the last paragraph. For the shelter and counties to have a good reputation, retain qualified employees, attract volunteers and donations, there must be hope. And that usually means continual reduction of euthanasia and intake rates. Over the past 6 years, gradual improvements have been made to all aspects of shelter operations, and adding room additions is the next step. Information for the project has been provided by numerous people, including contractors and builders, and Dana Doheny, the shelter's director. And we followed the Humane Society of the United States design guidelines wherever possible. I'm just going to repeat some of the stuff I wrote to you for the public. The shelter goal is a sustainable shelter designed and operated by industry standards that reflects positively on our counties and demonstrates responsible stewardship of taxpayer funds. The project goal is to improve the current shelter to provide a safe and functional workspace for employees, welcoming atmosphere for the public and volunteers, and provide a healthier environment for animals. The project will define areas of the shelter so that traffic flow and air quality can be improved, and public spaces will be better separated from non-public spaces. The proposed project does not provide a facility adequately sized to accommodate the expected volume of animals based on our human population of approximately 40,000. Rather, this proposal tries to make the most of what we have and provide basic animal sheltering standards with the least amount of funding possible. The project funding. We're proposing that the project be funded by the counties, minus donations, material discounts that have been committed to us from Kellogg Building Supply, and possible grants. The design work has been donated by Bill Hall. The quote for phase 1 is $110,000. We are asking $22,000 from each county, and we have raised double that amount, $44,000, which we have cash in hand from donations. If the project runs over budget due to adding a roof over the trailers, volunteers are committed to covering the additional cost. The scope of phase 1 is to add about 1,000 square feet, assemble 5 non-public rooms at the rear of the shelter using 2 inmate trailers that are being given to us for free that have never been used, and 1 new concrete building with 3 rooms. The rooms would be the medical trailer, feral and white cat and food trailer, food storage trailer, sick cat room, cat receiving room, and a storage room. Phase 1 will begin to separate cats into rooms where they need to be. Incoming sick and feral white cats will have separate rooms away from adoptable cats and kittens in the main building. Currently, all cats and kittens, healthy, sick, nursing, feral, white, old, are held in 1 room with the same ventilation, known as the cat room. When a cat gets sick, usually upper respiratory, there is no separate place to move it to, and often the entire cat population has to be euthanized, all because 1 cat gets sick and cannot be separated and treated. Feral cats are housed in a makeshift section of the cat room to keep non-vaccinated ferals away from the public. The feral cat room, and this is really important, this part here, if you think about working in the shelter and the public. The feral cat area is used for euthanasia procedures, dogs and cats. There is no ventilation in this area. The feral cat and euthanasia area is located next to the office, across from the front door, and directly in public view. At the completion of phase 1, backdoor operations will actually be at the back door. The proposed additions are not intended to increase capacity. Rather, the additions will allow current capacity to be spread out and placed in the appropriate room. Then I mentioned in the letter, we've already started doing some site preparations that have been completed. Phase 1 is a standalone project. It's not dependent on getting future additions done. Volunteers have been working on a plan for additions for over 2 years, and the Shelter Advisory Board has been kept informed. Shawan and Employment have each committed to funding 22,000 in the 16-17 budget. Gates did not receive an expected funding request from Shawan. I'm going to slow down, I'm going to talk fast. Okay. Gates did not receive an expected funding request from Shawan for this project, and the breakdown in communication was further compounded by the absence of a shelter advisory board meeting in May. It is requested that Gates agree to funding its share in 16-17. If needed, it is possible that Shawan would cover Gates' share, and repayment could be stretched until the end of the fiscal year. So, that's what I have. Any questions? And then I'll mention a couple of other little things.
Okay, so you will ask for appropriation of $22,000.
Correct. Yes, for your share of the project.
Okay.
Madam Chairman, I'd also like to mention that part of the rescue, I think Madam County Manager was present when you were telling us, and it's nice to see you all again, is that some of the rescue efforts and some of the animals themselves have been taken as far away and received in Pennsylvania. Am I correct?
New Jersey's coming up, a transport to New Jersey. They need animals up north. It's hard to believe, but yes. So Mary Jo coordinates all of that. And yes, we have regular monthly trips down to Philadelphia.
We didn't put anything in budget for that.
No, sir, not for this. We gave it the regular appropriation. This is an additional $22,000 on top of the amount we appropriated already.
How much is it? Okay.
And we had discussed those figures, Madam Chairman, too, to a degree in our board meeting that we were all present. I think then we'll probably talk about the figure of 27, somewhere around 27.
We knocked it down, and to really say something about the drawings, Bill Hoffman does all of this by hand. And we got the floor plan, made a few changes to the floor plan, and I didn't ask him to change the elevations to match because I just couldn't bring myself to it. So the elevations are a little bit, but you get the picture. So just to say, yes, we did some cutbacks, and the goal was to get a roof over those trailers because it'll make them last longer. So and we're committed to funding that if need be.
And Commissioner Jordan, I think it's 46,000.
46,000
What is $1,000?
46
for operations.
for operations. Ms. Goodman, do you have, did we make this appropriation, or where do we get the money from?
This one indicated earlier, like, the one balance, we don't have any additional revenue sources identified, this one.
That would be fund balance, correct? What is the pleasure of the board?
What is this project going to be completed?
I'm
When
sorry.
is this phase one going to be completed?
I would say within the next year. So, because it's going to be, everybody's short staffed. So it's going to be when we can coordinate putting out the bids, and I'm going to be probably helping Kevin Howard with that. And so it won't, the bills won't be coming in anytime soon, if that's where you're going with this. And again, Shawan commissioners have committed to me that they have to vote on it, but it would be possible for them to cover any costs that come in, and you all could pay this by the end of your fiscal year with any, if that helps you at all.
I mean, it's money.
It's 6 of one, half dozen of another, but it's all out of the same pot.
We have to commit to it, and that doesn't make any difference.
Doesn't help, okay.
I appreciate that.
Okay.
And it's very nice of Joanne to do that, but we still haven't had the money. I mean, the money's got to come, what was it, today or
Next year.
or what's it not?
Maybe our folks too would like to hear how many come from Gates County as far as to the shelter, cats and dogs.
I don't have those exact statistics with me, but it is pretty much broken down according to our population. Shawan pays more into the shelter, Shawan sends more to the shelter. for equipment is the next one, and the same breakdown. So when you look at the spreadsheet of what's going on, it balances out as far as appropriate, I don't know how to say it exactly, it's proportioned right. So that's, and last year the shelter took in, from my memory, I think about 2,100 animals from all 3 counties, which is way over population, which is why AWARE is spaying and neutering everything we can get our hands on. And we promote these spay neuter programs in all 3 counties. And so, because if you can get them fixed, we don't have them all going in. So, and the intake rate has gone down a little bit over the last few years, so we're happy about that.
And Ray, our animal control officer is still on the job?
Yes, sir, and he is constantly with his cat traps, and Madam County Manager can probably, as well as our finance officer, can verify that as well. I think we have more cats than dogs.
This is an old report. This is from May 2015. But in 2014, these were not brought to this. No, this is total intake. 249 cats and 228 dogs.
From Gates.
Yes.
I think it's something that's needed. I think you all have been making do long enough. And you're not really resolving the whole problem that you have, but you're trying to at least make it workable for what you're dealing with right now. Madam Chairman, I would make a motion that we appropriate the $22,000, which would probably come from fund balance. I was looking at the finance report, and I've seen quite a few areas where we are bringing revenue that we did not budget for, so I'm thinking we are going to have some overage for this year anyway. So, of course, I know we've come up short in some areas, but my motion would be to approve appropriating $22,000 identified from the fund balance to support the restoration and I'd say improvement of the animal control center.
And a motion has been made. Do I hear a second?
Second that motion, Madam Chairman.
Motion has been made and second, and any discussion? Well, I think, you hate to see where you have to euthanize a whole trail full because of, don't have the separation. That's a sad come off.
I think it's hard on the staff too,
Well, I can imagine.
to take care of them and
Because, some of these are not been cared for, come in with disease and spread, so we can understand that they can spread very quickly. Any other comments? Hearing none, the motion before us is to appropriate $22,000 come from fund balance to make this phase 1 of this animal shelter, to complete phase 1 of the animal shelter. All those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed?
Okay. Thank you. Now, I just have to do 2 more things.
Uh-oh.
Okay, short, real short, and it raises money for the shelter. It brings money in. All right, well, first of all, these are the shelter brochures that we had done a year or so ago that were all done, they're really fancy. The counties didn't pay anything, it was all done by donations and volunteers. So I thought I'd leave you those. And the last thing is that I have to mention a dog named Jack, because Jack brings in money to the shelter if I mention him in public. And Jack is a dog that was adopted from the shelter who was heartworm positive. He's a black lab mix by a man in Virginia Beach. He's a retired judge named Tom Annis. And Tom is connected to Gates County because he used to do a lot of horse rodeos and things down here with Gates County horse people. So he adopted Jack, and in the name of Jack, Jack has donated a load of things to the shelter. He built the play yards, he bought dog beds for all the kennels. But now what Jack does is that every time his name is mentioned in public, he makes a $100 donation to the Capital Improvement Fund. So Juwan County Commissioners have made this part of their meeting every month, and they've raised about $800.
We need to mention Jack.
You need to ask about Jack. I'll send you Jack's photograph. You need to ask about Jack. And Melissa, just send me the minutes where Jack's name was mentioned, and every time, and he appears in like his picture appears, and it's really, he donates more money. So,
And I thought she was pretty smart.
Where is that?
Yeah, where is Jack?
Jack lives in Virginia Beach, and he's a graduate, I have to say, of NC State Vet School, because he ended up having a lung problem, and nobody in Hampton Roads could figure this out. So he went to NC State Vet School for treatment. So now he's also a graduate of NC State Vet School. But Jack is a great, and he's living the life with Tom Ammons at the north end of Virginia Beach, and it's just a wonderful story that he helps us with all of these shelter.
Well, send us a picture of Jack.
I'll send you a picture, and we'll all be raising money.
And we'll give it to Jack here.
We may bring him sometime. Thank you all so much.
Thank you. And thank you for the work you do.
We're pleased to do it.
Okay, moving on to appointments to the Board of Adjustments. We have a map was given to us by Ms. Matisse, and we also have applications. And this time we have more applications than slots. So I guess that's a good thing. So, Ms. Baptiste, we have 3 openings.
Yes, ma'am. We have one regular position, and we have 2 alternate positions to be filled from the list of candidates or applicants.
It's my understanding the lady that was approved a couple of months ago that was wrong.
Yes, she has.
Okay, you heard Ms. Baptiste, and this is for a 4-year term, correct?
Three years?
Okay, I assume we should do the regular one first. Do I have a nomination?
I nominate Earl Rankin, he's sitting out there in front of us.
Okay,
And I think we all know Earl, and
And
I
I'll
know
second that
that
motion.
he's not afraid to speak his mind.
he's not afraid for it to speak his mind, sure. Motion has been made and properly seconded to nominate Earl Raintree. Any discussion? Okay, we all know Earl. Hearing none, all those who would approve the appointment of Earl Raintree to the Board of Adjustments, say aye. Aye. All opposed. So we're going to fill up some of your time, Earl, with that.
Let's hope we don't have many meetings. I hope you and the planning board do a good job, so we wouldn't have to do anything.
Well, there's certain character things that come with under the Board of Adjustments. Okay, moving right along. We have 2 alternates. I'll entertain a motion for the nomination to be an alternate to the Board of Adjustments.
Yes, I'd like to nominate Andrea Eason, Madam Chairman.
Okay, Andrea
34
Eason.
Acres Mill Road.
Okay, do I hear a second?
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded that Andrea Eason be appointed. Any discussion? Mrs. Eason is, of course, the widow of Mac Eason, taught at Tremont University for many years, retired, involved in various civic activities. Okay, hearing no discussion. All those in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed? Okay. And we have a 3rd slot available as an alternate, and entertain a motion.
I'll nominate Carol Ward for that position.
Okay, the nomination's been made. Is there a second?
Madam Chairman.
Motion has been made and seconded. Any discussion? All right, Mr. Ward is a fireman. And that's been appearing at a lot of the meetings of like the solar. I think. Okay, any other discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor of Carol Ward, Jr., being the alternate, say aye. Aye. All those opposed? Okay.
Thank you.
David, now, are you fully,
First time I've been on that.
you have full board?
I appreciate it.
Well, and, you know, we appreciate your work, Joe, on that. And,
Madam Chairman,
yes,
also, I think it would be a good idea if these people that just been appointed would meet with Jennifer for a meeting and give them a little bit of an orientation to give them a general idea of, you know, what's going on. I think it'd be very helpful.
We'll do it after, because our next meeting is, July 19th. Should be,
That's a Tuesday.
yeah, we should be July 19th, so we can do it after that day. But I still gotta hear the books.
thank you. Okay, funding for Albemarle Senior Games. Okay, personnel board recommendation. Excuse me. I was trying to carry up, yes. Personnel board, would like to make the following recommendations. You have seen, there's a whole list of those there. And these are, they have worked on the requirements and for the various customer service representative, customer service supervisor, and a customer service, lead customer service representative. Is that correct in attendance?
That's correct.
It's hard to remember all these different titles. These have been recommended, they've come from a recommendation from the personnel board. So it doesn't.
What does the secretary rewrite? Is specific, is there something specific that?
Just minor things, that had never been updated, like customer service no longer takes taxes, so that was pulled out, just a very minor thing. And, that we had a lead customer service representative, that she has trained, continues to train. She's been there since the conception of the software program that we have now.
Thank you.
We have two customer service people.
Right, there's one
One has been, is responsible for training and has trained
And
more
others just come
students.
off of probation.
Yeah.
Right.
So that was, and like I say, updates and making sure that they reflect really what the job they're doing.
Exactly.
Okay, it comes from a recommendation from a committee, let's do a second. It comes from a standing committee, personnel board. Doesn't need a second. Any other discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed? Okay. So we have, now we have another one. Okay, wastewater system audit.
You did it, that was.
I'm sorry that, but down the pages to get to the names of the different.
We have to approve each one, since it wasn't unless it consent.
We have to do each one of these separately.
Yes, ma'am. So it wasn't unless it consent.
Can we have a motion to do all three at one time? The customer service
Yes, ma'am.
representative, the lead customer service representative, and the,
It would be the creation of a lead service and then the promotion of an employee. Step number 2 and number 3. The rest of them have to deal with different jobs.
okay, we done all one.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, number 2, creating of the lead customer service representative, it starts at grade 14, step 5. So do I have a motion for that?
So moved.
Okay, motion's been made and seconded, any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Okay, next is the promotion of Daphne Walker to lead customer service position with a salary grade 14, step 9, to be effective July 1st, 2016. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded, any discussion? And she, Mrs. Walker is the one who has been training and doing that for many years. Okay. Any additional discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, say aye. Aye. All those opposed? Approved. Okay. Number 4, reclassification of communication supervisory position to a grade 19, step 5, to be effective July 1st, 2016. And that goes along with, due to reclassification of position, approval to move Herman Weiss to that grade 19, step 5, effective July 1st, 2016. Can we do both of those together?
So moved. Second.
Motion's been made and seconded. Any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed? Okay. The promotion of Olivia Williams to a full-time custodial position at a grade 9, step 1, to be effective August 1st, 2016. Now with the EIC building coming on board, they have additional work to do, and she had been part-time.
So moved, Madam Chair.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Second. Motion been made and second. All those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed? Okay, don't need any actions on the whole ones. Approval of the job, the wastewater system operation job description.
And maybe you need
That was all of them. We have to, you know, take that. Okay. Denial of salary increase request for Stephanie Sawyer. Formal review to take place once certification is received. She has not got her certification. Well, not got, she's not approved. Have a motion?
So moved.
I'll
And
second.
she's in the process of obtaining extension.
I'll second that. Any discussion? I just didn't think we had to, if we denied something, that we still had to, the commissioners had to.
We did it in a previous meeting, that's why I made, that's.
I don't think we do have to do, it
Madam Chair,
doesn't
the board acts for motions.
from the,
The way I understand the general statute, we as a board act as a board under motions made and approved by the board to be official actions. That's our duty as a board. And, some of these rules, I'm not sure where they get them from, but this board acts as a board under the motions approved by the board. Recommendation from the committee, whatever. My understanding is that we are approved 5-4. So,
Oh, well, standing committees can make a recommendation,
so they're supposed to.
and they're supposed to. And Robert's Rules of Order, if it comes from a standing committee, he does not require a second.
We do not have, we do not operate as Robert's Rules of Order. We have not set in place a policy that that's what we go by. The recommended procedure that we use is that's been provided to us for the Board of County Commissioners. And we have basically adopted that, and that's generally what we go by.
I believe it states that in that, that we go by Robert Rules of Order. And in fact, I am currently trying to work on something I would like to hand back to the board members at a future meeting by our rules. But I believe in the book that you have in your hand, it does say that we go by Robert Rules of Order.
Well, when you look at the general statute, you read the general statute, I don't have it in front of me, when we operate the commission meetings. It provides a guideline on how we need to operate, and that's what we need to take a look at.
I believe Mrs. Lawrence has just been to a clerk's meeting. Did y'all talk about the rules?
Yes, ma'am, and I came back and actually researched it. Gates County does not have a written policy that dictates how a meeting should operate. So according to the general statute in the School of Government, you default to Robert's Rules of Order. So the books that everyone has, the small reference books, are written based off of Robert's Rules of Order's guidelines.
And I have,
They're not identical to Robert's Rules of Order. This is what you said in the guidelines.
Well, I mean, Robert's Rules of Order is applied to every, it's not just for government. So that book takes Robert's Rules of Orders and makes it applicable to local government business. So it gives examples that are in relation to what you deal with on a daily basis.
and
We
that
not
is,
develop a policy.
Right, if we had a separate policy that dictated something different, then we would follow that. But in a court of law, if a motion got appealed, the judge would likely dictate back to a standard Robert's Rules of Order.
and I am currently, one of the projects I have going on is looking at, I know some of the counties have their own rules. They use the Robert Rules of Order, but they have their rules. In fact, Melissa, did you not find that some counties already have their rules? And because some counties require subjects on motion, some counties don't, but it's a small board. And going through that and trying to come up with a template. And then I was going to try to have a work session so we could all look at it and see, so we could all agree on what our standard rules of operation would be. But that is a work in progress. I haven't got it to that stage where I can hand out a rough copy. But until then, we'll go on the presumption that, we're using Robert's Rules of Order. Okay, so, but do we do still have to deny?
I just pulled up Robert's Rules of Order, but I was not looking for that, but we voted, I think it was 2 months ago perhaps, on something that the personnel meeting denied because it can be overturned out of the full board.
Mr. Felon, do you remember what it was?
I can remember, it was for a raise for the DSO.
Yeah, we have a motion on the floor.
Okay, we have a motion on the floor by denying Stephanie Sawyer her pay increase in her certification is complete. All those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed? Okay. The next one, a denial to DSS request to amend Gates County shared leave policy. Motion's been made and seconded. Any discussion?
Denial of the DSS request to amend the Gates County shared leave policy.
Our shared leave policy says that you follow the state policy. And so they wanted to amend it so that basically we would have had to write another policy. Because it says that we follow the state policy.
That we follow the state.
Okay, any additional discussion?
And that's just basically to keep it simple.
Yes, sir.
So this will result in a denial of the leave request as well, right?
The leave would have been approved, but not shared leave. Based on the way that the state policy is written.
The person received leave, but she couldn't receive the shared leave.
Did not receive shared leave.
No.
And the state policy doesn't allow shared leave.
Not for the reason that the person was going to be out of work. And it was very clearly stated that it was not allowed for that reason.
Okay, we'll have a vote. All those in favor for the denial of the DSS request to amend the Gates County shared leave policy, say aye. Aye. All opposed? Okay, approval of the wastewater system operating job description. That is at the back of your packet. If you look, I think most of it has.
He stepped out, but this is a new position. And this position would be in charge of the wastewater system. And when they're hired, they would, and in the packet, there were some pages that did get flipped, I didn't notice that. So it's the first page, and then it's the first page of another, second page of another job description, and then it's the continuation of wastewater. You can tell by the font. But this would be a new position to be hired, like I was saying, for the wastewater facility. When they're hired, they would help with all of the other things such as leak repair, meter installs, but once wastewater comes online, this would be their main duty. And they would also take on responsibility of the current one.
Okay.
I'm Chairman, I make a motion that we approve the job description for wastewater system operator.
Okay, the motion's been made. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Second. Motion's been made and seconded. Any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor, say aye. Aye. Okay, creation of wastewater system operator position, grade 18, with approval to advertise for the position. We just created a job description, now we need to fill the position and to advertise for the position and then fill it. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second. Second motion been made and seconded. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Okay. Personnel committee has been busy.
So,
Okay, moving right along, funding for the Albemarle Senior Games. We have numerous citizens that participate in that each year. And for the past several years, we have we have donated $200 to that.
now Madam Chairman, I'll make a motion that we donate $200 this year for the senior game.
Second.
And motion's been made and seconded. Any discussion? Okay, hearing none. All those in favor, say aye. Aye. All those opposed? Okay, so we'll fund those. Okay, memorandum of agreement between the County of Gates and the Gates Icing Committee for the provisions of the icing service.
Going through our records, we found that there had been a memorandum of agreement between the county and the housing committee, and I felt that this was in the best interest of both parties with their recent receipt of the $175,000 essential single-family rehab grant, and it spells out what the housing committee agrees to, what the county agrees to, and what they both agree to do. And it does say that we can have a separate appendix for specific services, such as the grant, once we find out more details about the grant. And this would be from July 1st, 16 through June 20th of 2017. The housing committee met last week, and Patrice Lasker said they assumed that they need to go ahead and sign it, and I said, I'm sorry, was it clear? It was just as a general FYI, because commissioners had not seen it. They just had one question, and I answered this question to their satisfaction.
What was their question?
Their question had to do with what was needed in the quarterly reports to the commissioners, and I said, basically, let us know if you spent the money, how many people have you assisted, what type of projects you've done during the quarter with the money that you received from the county.
But certainly, we would like to know how many, and what you've done, and
And the last one, this is the same template that was signed in 2012, which is the last copy that we have.
Is that a yearly thing?
Yes, sir, it would be going forward.
yeah, because some years we get funds and some years we do not have funds.
Well, this would be also for the money that we give them. So
Okay.
I think this year we gave 3,000, asked for 5,000. Madam Chairman, I'll make a motion that we approve the endorsement of the memorandum of agreement between the housing committee and the county manager signing.
I second that motion, Madam Chairman.
Okay, any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye. Aye. And I'm looking forward to hearing these reports, because it's always nice to hear where we have helped citizens.
Sure. And help find a few. As a matter of fact, I think those reports were given. I know we really gave several of them.
I remember Mr. Riddick, I don't have to, but of course, he's been ill. So okay, moving on to the final item on new business, is budget amendments. Ms. Pittman? Are we still cleaning up?
No, we are done. As of June 30th, you can't do anything else.
I bet.
Too late after that, so we're good. These are actually for this fiscal year.
Already made any changes?
Already. Well, this one actually is kind of clean up from last year, but then I'd like to also have you approve amendment number 2, even though you don't have it in front of you, so that we can fund the $22,000 that we just agreed to for the shelter.
Okay.
We can do that, if that's okay.
Okay, let's do the first one. Motion's been made, second.
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded. Any discussion?
Sam, I know it's not your prerogative, but Ms. Baptiste has gone. Do you know the progress on this?
The last time I heard, I think it had gone to the state, they had sent back some recommendations, those changes have been made, it's back in the state. I think we're basically waiting for the state to approve it, and then it has to come to the commissioners for final approval, correct?
They're hoping September. They were hoping for August, but now it's been pushed back to September.
So the state has got our revisions.
Yes.
So
So I think it's fairly close, and we wanted to go ahead and do this immediately in case somehow it did get finished in July or August, so.
So he can get his money.
Correct. So we can clear it up.
All those in favor say aye. And second one.
Number 2 would be for the animal shelter, we just approved the additional $22,000. I can type it up, and once it's typed up, I'll email it, so you'll have a full copy of it. But basically, it would show $22,000 coming out of fund balance for the revenue source, and then an increase in the shelter line item for $22,000 in the expenditure to balance it out.
Okay. Not there, here, motion.
So moved.
Second.
Motion been made second to, for a budget amendment for the animal shelter for $20,000 that we just approved.
That would be while we go under the animal shelter, there would be a separate line item, but this is something that's not repetitive every year.
Right, I believe that there's a separate line for capital. If not, I will create a line item for capital. I believe the maximum digits would be 580 for capital for building improvements is 580.
And even though it's a lot of pennies, it's still big, it's cost effective for Gates County.
Council that as we can, if we can reduce those populations or to make them. Okay, any, all those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed. Okay, citizens comments. We have 2 citizens.
No, it's a good thing, Sandy's still here, to sort of running the lead back, this is not, it's controversial, someone would have Sandy, we got the county manager here too. A few years ago, I got to get Sandy to listen, and she won't hear my question, will she?
Pay attention, Sam. I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, I was gonna let you finish. No, a few years ago, you and I, we were looking at various ways, and we changed the ways of paying our water bill. And we went through this situation, and the way mine was done early on, and it's still on mine, that you would pay it and you send it to the bank, and the bank would cut a check and send it to you, which is sort of old way of doing things. And then y'all made some changes. I never made any changes, even though I brought it up, I apologize. Because then we started sending our water bill to Philadelphia well. So I didn't know what to do, so I mailed it. My question is simple. Is there a way to have an automatic bank draft on our water bill?
Now, that is something that I believe Diane and Daphne are working on, but it's something I know it's been discussed, but no.
And that's the only way that I can make sure that our water ain't cut off. The Gates County water bill is the only bill that I got left that I actually got to remember and write a check for.
Well, now, and I set mine up automatically. We have now made a change where if you go to your bank, your online payment will come to us electronically. They no longer mail a check. So you can do it that way, and you can set up automatically. I mean, obviously, it's a different amount each one, but that does come to us electronically now. It does not mail a check.
And we did get that part anyway. I set this up with my bank,
Right.
and they'll send you electronically to wherever it's supposed to go.
Right, within a day.
But yeah, so that's almost, it's basically the same thing as automatic withdrawal.
So you can do that. You won't have to write a check.
Well, that's what, I went through this one time, and this is the last one time that I like to do this.
But now you can, you'll be check free.
I know it, I really like it, because I don't have to worry about it not being paid, you know, I mean, the only thing you got to worry about is make sure you got money enough to pay it. I don't, I
That's
had,
big words.
luckily, I had
citizen, you have a comment?
No comment.
Okay. Then we'll have commissioners' comments, we'll start right there with Commissioner Freeman.
Thank you, Madam Chairman. Once again, we sit in front of our citizens and those that feel like coming and expressing their views with us, but also bringing various points to us. We appreciate that, and we also sit here and make decisions based on a lot of things, including, first of all, the law, and secondly, what is best for our citizens. And we do sit here in unison. I really appreciate all my fellow commissioners, as well as the citizens. So, thank you.
And I appreciate everybody showing up today too. We had a full room here for a while for different varied interests of different people, and it's always good to hear that. And I was very glad to see the list of applicants for interest into the Board of Adjustment. That's something that's very important, and it needs to be taken very seriously, and I'm glad to see that. Thank you.
I too thank everyone for being here and taking interest in the county government. And thank each one of you for the input. And I do ask the board that we consider the desires of the citizens of the county that they have expressed to us. Thank you very much.
Okay, I also thank everybody for coming and expressing opinions. It's important to hear from you. It's also important to hear from the people who are in the trenches day to day, working with the problems in certain departments and facing the public. And also, it's important to hear from both sides. And we need to always deal with facts. And that's what we have to try to deal with. I hope that the decisions we make are always to keep in mind what is best for all citizens of the county. And, that's important as well. And that we try to be as efficient and effective as public service as we can be, and that and we hope that we do that each and every day. Okay, thank you, and do we have any closed session? Okay, so I'll entertain a motion to enter into closed
Madam
session.
Chairman, before we do that, may I make one comment, it's not so wise, but my comment about where's Jack was actually referring to a fellow commissioner who
Okay.
missed today, but the lady, of course, Ms. Yates did not know who I was referring to. She thought I was referring to the dog.
And Commissioner Owens had work-related activities that he could not get out of.
Before you go to closed session, I said I was going to say nothing else, but this, I talked to you and some of the lady that, this is public record, the lady that was appointed to the Board of Adjustments and then quit, is that the one that we had a conversation about because she had a Suffolk mailing address?
Yes.
Yes.
She never, they got the meeting said like 2 months ago, so you just had appointed one. That was the one that I had some questions about. And then they brought up that somebody had resigned, so I was actually going to ask her later, because I was going to get the copy of the application, but I don't need to no more.
Okay, I need a motion to enter into closed session pursuant to North Carolina General Statute 143-318, 11A on legal matters.
So moved.
Okay, motion's been made, second. Second. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Okay, before we do that, we'll take a break. Do I entertain a motion to come out of closed session?
So moved. Second.
Okay, motion's been made and properly second. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Okay, do I have a motion to recess until July 18th, 2016 at 7 p.m. 6 p.m.
So moved.
Second.
Motion been made and properly second. All those in favor say aye. Aye.